So, good day to you all. Right, good grief. Oh my goodness. They're getting worse. I'm actually thinking of putting makeup on now, although, no, I won't. I'll just carry on with the cards I've been dealt. What can I do other than say I'm sorry? Right, we'll go music-based today on today's video. Yeah, music-based. And this is an unusual vid from me, because for a change, it's not me having a pop at anybody, calling anybody. In fact, it's praising a number of people. And when I say music-based, it's really regarding, in the main, a radio station. They're called, I look that way, just you might have noticed that. Well, I'll tell you what they're called in a moment, but just to the background behind this. I read a story the back end of last month, about the 22nd, 23rd of March, about something that has recently happened in Ireland. I almost read it twice. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was really, really heartened, really pleased, and at the same time really surprised, which is probably why I was so heartened. There's a radio station in Ireland there called Radio Nova, and they've been running a competition, I would imagine, for a number of days or a number of weeks. I don't know how long it lasted for. I'm not from Ireland myself. And they picked out 16 bands, 16 Irish bands, and they wanted to find the best Irish band out of the 16. I would guess the bands were probably rock-based or from a rockish kind of background, but there's a number of different bands there. And I think what they did is they did a competition facing two bands against one another. Probably had 5 or 6 rounds, be 8, and then it'd be 4, then it'd be 2, and so on and so forth, I would guess. So it'd be 16, 8, 4 and 2. And the two bands that made the final were U2 and Thin Lizzy. Now they had listeners voting for the best band of all time from Ireland, and I believe they limited it to 10,000 listeners. I think 10,000 listeners actually text who they thought was the best band. And I'm heartened because the result surprised me. In fact, it didn't surprise me just a little, it surprised me massively. I would assume that U2 would win the vote. There's a term I've heard in recent times called, I think it's called recency bias. You tend to vote for what you see now, what you've heard recently, rather than what you've seen or heard in years gone by. So I thought that would play to U2's favour. I also thought the fact that they've sold more LPs than Thin Lizzy, which I'm sure they have done, would also play in their favour. But the biggest thing that I would have thought would have made them the winner of that very competition was the fact that they probably they sell more worldwide than Thin Lizzy ever did. I mean, they cracked America, U2, they've cracked the world, but especially America. Thin Lizzy never really did that. But Thin Lizzy had a band that probably extensively toured for 6, 8, 10, 12 years, I can't remember how many years. It's a good few years, with the great Phil Lynott at the helm, writing the songs, singing the songs, playing bass guitar, and being what every rock star should be, a rock star. He was the business, he looked the business, he lived the part more than anyone I've probably ever seen in life before, which probably gives you a good idea of where I'm coming from now with the results of the poll and so on and so forth. But the fact that U2 were massive in America and Lizzy never were, I thought would work in U2's favour. That said, Lizzy toured Britain extensively. They were a big touring band, released a good few LPs. In fact, it was only, I think, day before yesterday, I seen a little piece with, who was it? Scott Gorham, with a young lady off, I've seen her on Sky Arts, I think she was doing a 2-part interview with him, and they were talking about it's, I think, 40 years since the seminal LP Jailbreak came out, and it was followed that same year by Johnny the Fox. You won't often get 2 LPs as good delivered in the same year by one band. But anyway, cutting to the chase, the vote was won in the end by Thin Lizzy, and they didn't win it by a little, they won it 60-40. That to me is a lot, that's not a close vote. And I was shocked, I was really, really shocked. And all I can say is to the people of Ireland that voted, to the 6,000 of the 10 that voted for Thin Lizzy, thank you very much. It heartened me. Lizzy are a band close to my heart. I've seen them probably more times than most any other band I've ever seen. They've entertained me as much or more than any band I've ever seen. I actually seen them do One Bad Night. They did One Bad Night once. I went with some of my mates. I took a couple of guys that had never been to see them before to try and convert them, and it was the only night they were bad, but they played in what was almost a shed. The sound was, it was horrendous. And they actually missed the last train. It was a Sunday night, I knew if I stayed I was going to miss the train, didn't know I was going to get home. Everybody else went for the train by me. There was 6 or 8 of us there, I think, and it was an 18, 19 mile walk home, but I was heartened by knowing I'd seen the Great Thin Lizzy yet again. For all of them were poor that night, and knowing that the next time I seen them, they'd be a whole lot better, and they were. They were always magic. But again, to the people of Ireland that voted for Lizzy, thank you very much. Keep the faith!